Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the fights for UFC Fight Night Cerrone versus Medeiros. We have a 6-fight main card, and in our first fight, we have Sage Northcutt facing Thibaut Gulti in the lightweight division. And this is a decent matchup. I think Sage Northcutt should be able to win this matchup pretty clear. I don't think he'll get a finish, but I think he'll win a clear-cut decision. I think Thibaut Gulti is a decent fighter, but I think he's not really proficient or special in any one area. I think he's just an all-around MMA fighter, and he's not really top 15, top 20, maybe not even top 30. And he may have fought some people that may be top 15, but he's lost pretty clear in most of those matches when he fought the best people. I think for that level right now, I think this is a good matchup for Sage Northcutt where he's at in his career. I think he'll be the better striker because he comes from that kickboxing, karate style, and he had an excellent career in that when he was younger and growing up. So he has an excellent base in that. I don't think Gulti would be able to take advantage of the downsides of kickboxing with those blitzes and how they leave themselves open for counters when they come in sometimes. I don't think Gulti is proficient enough to capitalize on that opening. I think he may be able to capitalize with takedowns. But I think by Sage Northcutt training with Team Alpha Male and several other top gyms, I think he'll be aware of that. And if he does get taken down, he'll be able to stand up quick. So I think Sage Northcutt will win a pretty clear-cut decision in this one. And I think Thibaut Gulti is just good enough that he will be able to survive and make the fight competitive enough that Sage Northcutt will just have to edge him on the decision. And then in our next fight, we have Jessica Aguilar versus Souza. And this is a good matchup as well. I think a lot of people might be picking Souza. I haven't really checked pretty much haven't checked the odds for this match or who's favored and who's not. But I think I've seen Souza fight Angela Hill in Invicta. I think Souza has okay striking, nothing fantastic. But Aguilar striking, nothing fantastic either. But Souza's grappling pretty good. But I think Jessica Aguilar has fought in way better competition. She has lost both her fights in the UFC to Gadelia and this other fighter, I forget her name right now. Casey, I think, yeah, something Casey. A big fighter for the weight class and pretty good. She's one of the dark horses for the weight class. Not the best record, but yeah, she fought her and she fought Claudia Gadelia, who's basically top 4, was probably top 2 in the weight class at the time. And the fight wasn't close at all, but Jessica Aguilar showed that she could hang with somebody who has probably the best jiu-jitsu in the weight class and probably one of the better striking, pretty much the second best fighter in the weight class. And she pretty much was able to hang in there the whole time. She was never really competitive in the fight, but she hanged in there, and she made the Casey fight competitive somewhat, even though that was pretty one-sided as well. But I think both of those fighters are much better than Souza, much bigger than Souza. So I think this fight, Aguilar is going to have much more experience. I think their striking around the same. I think Aguilar will probably be the better wrestler in this matchup, and probably, even though Souza's a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, I think Aguilar will be able to get the top positions and pretty much use her veteran experience to edge Souza just enough on the decision to win, either be a close decision, unanimous decision, or a real tight split decision. So I got Aguilar in that fight by decision. In our next matchup in the welterweight division, we have Thiago Alves versus Curtis Millender. And Millender, I remember seeing him back in the Bellator days when he was undefeated and people were kind of hyping him up to be this next John Jones, or he was trying to be a Mayweather. He wanted to be undefeated and all that stuff. He was like 6'2" for the weight class, pretty good size for the weight class. He was pretty filled out for a welterweight as well. Decent size reach for a welterweight, 78. That's pretty good. So, but yeah, so he had all that range and he had all the talent, but he didn't really know how to use his range that well. He didn't know how to deal with fighters. His skills weren't that pretty much well, like he hadn't really refined his tools yet. He was just kind of this raw talent. And I still think he's pretty much raw talent. He may never be fully not raw. But there's no guarantee he'll ever be more than what he is right now. And he hasn't really fought any special competition since leaving Bellator. He kind of just fought pretty much third-tier competition outside Bellator. So his winning streak he's on right now, you can't really credit it too much. Thiago Alves will be, I guess, the tell of how good he is. But I think this fight, Thiago Alves will win this fight. I think Thiago Alves is a better striker by far and probably technically way better than any striker that Millender has ever faced. And I think that even though Thiago Alves has faded and maybe not as good as he once was, or maybe not as successful, or maybe the sport has kind of moved past him, evolved past him, I still think that Thiago Alves is far more than anything that Millender has ever faced in his career. But Millender still has one of those people, like, they might not be the best outside the UFC, maybe never be a champion of no major organization, but then they come to the UFC and they start blossoming and become a star. But I think in this fight, I don't think he's going to have his Cinderella moment, or in the UFC, I think Thiago Alves is going to quickly shoot down his dreams in this fight. I probably see Thiago Alves winning a wide decision. Not even, nah, I'm not going to dog him like that. I'm saying Thiago Alves is going to win a decision. It's going to be a hard fight, striking match. Going to be back and forth, but Thiago Alves is going to be clearly the better striker and clearly the better fighter in the matchup and win a decision in that fight. And then in our next fight, we have James Vick versus Francis Trinaldo in the lightweight division. And James Vick has been on a tear. He has came a long way since his Ultimate Fighter days when he was pretty much had no ground game, had kind of questionable striking, and just was kind of getting lucky almost to some extent, you could say, about his wins he was getting over some competition. But James Vick has come a long way. He has grown confidence in striking, has learned to use his reach. His grappling has gotten better submissions. He has came a long way. Trinaldo has came a long way from his Ultimate Fighter days as well and was on one of the bigger winning streaks in the lightweight division and pretty much one of the biggest streaks in lightweight division history at one point until Kevin Lee beat him. So they both came a long way. But I think James Vick's size and reach, his youth, and all that stuff will come into effect. I think Trinaldo, if he could stay in James Vick's face and land some big shots, he could have success and maybe even finish James Vick. But I think that won't be the case. I think Trinaldo's cardio won't be able to hold up. I think James Vick, now that he has a better understanding of using range and has kind of gotten used to his body, his frame, and know how to use his reach, I think he'll be able to keep Trinaldo pretty much at bay. And if Trinaldo tries to rush in, I think actually James Vick will be able to catch him, just like he caught his last opponent, and who was a very good striker himself as well. So I think James Vick will win this fight. I think he'll probably win via second round TKO just by being, I guess, a more improved fighter and with having his attributes, time on his side, and pretty much all the attributes are on his side except maybe strength. I think grappling, they're pretty much even for the most part. And I think if Trinaldo's any bit better than grappling, I think James Vick will be able to negate his advantages and pretty much take him out there in the second round via TKO. Then in our next matchup, we have Derek Lewis versus Marcin Tybura. And Tybura is a fighter, he has pretty good striking. I think he's strong as well, nice size for the weight. I think he's about 6'4", real good kicks. He can switch, like his head kicks are as fast as probably maybe a good light heavyweight, maybe middleweight, but he got very loose hips. He could get that head kick up there very quick and catch people off guard with it. His strikings are very clean, very crisp, his punches. So I think that could pose a big threat to Derek Lewis, who sometimes gets kind of sloppy with his strikes and kind of just wins by being Derek Lewis. He kind of swings wide at times. He kind of come with his hands down at times. But he always finds a way to win, even though he might not be fighting the most technical. And I think that's probably what's going to happen in this fight. I think Derek Lewis, even though he lost to Mark Hunt in the last fight, Mark Hunt is a top-notch striker, so that's nothing bad about him, but he's still coming off a loss and still was thinking about retirement, so you don't know quite where Derek Lewis' head is at. But I think in this fight, Derek Lewis will probably actually be using his grappling as well to try to get Tybura to the ground. I think Derek Lewis will probably be the stronger person in this matchup. I think neither of them are that great of grapplers or that technical grapplers, so it's kind of come down to who might have a little bit of technical advantage and who might be stronger. I think Derek Lewis has just been awkward, and as he is, he'll be able to get some takedowns and land some vicious ground and pound on Tybura eventually. I think there will be some scares with those head kicks. Derek Lewis has to watch out for those, but I think eventually he'll be able to get Tybura to the ground. And once he gets to the ground, he has some vicious ground and pound. It's not the most technical, but it's very effective. And he hit you one of those, you're almost certainly to go out. So I have Derek Lewis win this fight via second round knockout. And then in our main event, we have Cerrone versus Medeiros. And this is kind of a tough matchup for Cerrone, just all styles. Medeiros is a tall fighter who is pretty good with his hand, pretty decent boxing, fast hands, good choice of punches. And Cerrone's never been good with those type of people because, you know, he's so dangerous and versatile. His striking is pretty square, so he's open to get hit by punches, especially by somebody's own size, and knows how to throw the right punches at the right time. But also Medeiros is somebody that also get hit a lot. I think at this point, Medeiros has, he's been getting rocked and dropped in this fight. He has shown a great heart. Unless the ref stops the fight, he'll stay in there, and after he'll probably come back and win the fight. With Cerrone, if you start catching him too much, he'll pretty much either get knocked out or he'll just kind of just curl up and then be TKO. So, but I think in this fight, Cerrone, knowing that he's on a 3-fight losing streak, he'll show that he's the pretty much more well-rounded fighter. He's been more places than Medeiros has been a top fighter for many years now. Top 3, top 5, always been one of the stars of the UFC. It's pretty much as long as he's even been in WC. So I think he'll be able to use his, just like how when he fought not Charles Oliveira, but Oliveira, the other Oliveira, Cowboy Oliveira, and he just took him down and submitted him. I think he'll mix in his wrestling more in this fight to pretty much try to make this fight to win this fight by as easy a method as he can. He's not gonna take the path the most resistant. He's gonna try to find the path the least resistant. Just being a veteran, he'll probably try to mix in takedowns, try to go for submissions, and so that Medeiros never gets too comfortable on his feet. And I think that Cerrone can have success on the feet as well with his kicks and body kicks. I think he'll be able to hurt Medeiros. I don't think Medeiros is no titanium, man. So I think those kicks to the body will hurt him, probably curl him up a bit at times, can even take him out there with a body kick. And those body kicks will set up the head kick. So I think Cerrone can win this fight via like a head kick knockout, or whether he wants to go for the takedown. But I think in this fight, since he needs this win, he's going to pretty much take the safe route. And it's going to be a safe fought decision where Cerrone will go for takedowns and pretty much to try to make sure he wins every round clearly. Medeiros might get a round. He might have some scares in the fight where he might drop Cerrone or might hurt Cerrone, but I think Cerrone will just rebound, get the takedowns, and hold him down until he recovers, or hold him down as long as he can keep landing effective ground and pound and attempting submissions and progressing on the ground. So I think it's going to be a five-round decision for Cerrone. And that completes my fight predictions for UFC Fight Night, Cerrone versus Medeiros. I've had all pretty much red corner all the way down for the main event. I mean, not the main event, but the main card. It might not go that way, but I think this fight, thinking in these fights, I think it was come down more so to veteran experience and I guess who wants it more and who needs it more. So I think these are effective picks for this card. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.